So being in the southern suburbs of Hobart and not wanting to travel through the Hobart city to get north of Hobart, the only other option is to travel through some forestry tracks on the western side of Mt Wellington. There's a couple of routes through there and they proved a little bit challenging, but the old CT125 handled it, so it turned out to be a long 6-hour day. Soon the suburbs of Hobart are behind me as I weave my way along the Derwent River and then head west into the countryside. Finally I find someone slower than the CT125 up the hills. This guy did overtake me down the hills. He was overloaded. I record everything on my iPhone, so do excuse a jumpy, jerky zoom now and again. This is why Tassie's called the Apple Isle. Apple orchards are plenty, really pretty riding through these rolling hills in the Huon Valley. Apple orchards surrounding us. Good time of the year to be there, which was February. This netting is actually hail netting to stop the stone fruit being damaged by hail. Nothing makes your rectum contract rapidly like a bit of gravel on a blind corner. But soon the bitumen would finish and I'd be on the gravel for the next 4 or 5 hours, skirting the western side of Mt Wellington with nothing but wilderness for hundreds and hundreds of kilometres to the west of me. And up I go. The little CT125 handles it really well, including the quite corrugated corners on these switchbacks. Challenging, but she did it. The forest on this ride was quite varying, from this really thick rainforest type country to some quite sparse dry areas. Recording all this, riding one hand, holding an iPhone, you do get a few hairy moments. So I'm travelling through forestry country, so there's absolutely a maze of forestry tracks through here. It'd be really, really difficult to travel through here without GPS. Just check all the tracks going off in different directions. So I was travelling on a beautiful Tasmanian Saturday and, literally an hour away from the centre of Hobart City and just nobody out here. Serenity was fantastic, so beautiful. Just check out that tiny suspension pumping up and down hour after hour. Gee, these little bikes go for such small suspension capacity. So it was time to stop at around lunchtime, and fortunately we'd stopped off at Salamanca markets before I took off and had some lovely lunch next to an old mill site. Sadly, Tassie must be the roadkill capital of the world. I've just never seen such roadkill in such quantities, even on these quiet back roads. Very sad. A locked gate is just what you don't want to see after 3 hours of riding. Geez, I was so fortunate someone before me had cut the lock on this gate. Would have been amazed to get out, and hours of extra riding, let alone my fuel capacity, would have been pushed to the limit. So, surprised to see a gate in this wild country. I'm now getting to the northwestern side of Mt Wellington, which must be a bit of a rain shadow because this woodland seems to take the place of the rainforest. Pretty country. That's a long way down. Yeah. I wasn't going past there. That massive drop off on a sharp corner gave me a hell of a fright. You certainly got to keep your wits about you. You wouldn't have gone to go much faster. Before you can blink, I'm out of the forest into rolling farmlands heading north towards Bothwell. Gotta love a country road full of sweeping corners and no traffic. Gee, Tasmania is great. And before I know it, the gravel finishes and the bitumen starts and you're winding your way through beautiful rural countryside. Oops, I missed that gear. God knows how many times I've done that. So this is all hops grown country with old hops grown sheds hugging the side of the road. Beautiful. So this sign must be a nightmare for truck drivers, but wow, it brings a smile to the face of a motorbike rider. Every black lump you see me filming on the road is another dead Australian marsupial animal. Just amazing how many of these animals are killed on Tasmanian's road. I've just never seen anything like it. So Bothwell sits at about 400 metres above sea level, so in the Midlands of Tasmania, so there's a fair bit of up in, but for every up there seems to be an equal down, so it's great riding, and certainly a lot drier than further down south in Tasmania. Bothwell's a great historic town in the Midlands of Tasmania, settled by Scots, with the oldest golf course in Australia. Lovely old buildings here. So I'd ridden on the bike over 5.5 hours, and Leanne zapped there in an hour going on the bitumen. Our digs for a couple of days in Bothwell. Isn't it a beautiful little place? Apple trees everywhere. So check out our surprise visitor who popped in while we were here, Gordon on his 1935 Harley Davidson sidecar. What a great guy.